right, we are back with another episode of It's That Easy. It is Saturday, August 22nd. Hope everyone had a great week and is starting to have a great weekend. So if you're watching the channel, please like it. And if you get a chance, go ahead and subscribe. So got a different one today for you. Of course, we're always changing up stuff here. So going to do some collectibles here. We're going to talk some baseball. We're going to talk, we got to talk some football. And we may even look at what's coming up with college. So we'll see what happens there. But you'll see some segments. It's going to look a little weird, look a little different, but bear with me here. So, but we're going to kick this off. So we talked about collectibles. I usually bring some collectibles on here. So I think I've shown this to people, but check these out. So look at these stands. So I got these Funkos that I've had for, some of them I had for a few years, for quite a few years. I love championship rings. Been fascinated with championship rings since I was a kid. Let's see. It was, I don't remember what year it was, but I got the program for Super Bowl 18. And I was flipping through the program. I bought it at like some, like flea market shop. And the program had a page where it said, last year's champions got this Super Bowl ring. And I didn't realize they got rings like that. I said, holy cow, that's awesome. So I got infatuated with these rings. So, of course, right, fortunately for me, got to see the Cowboys win some rings. And, I bought some of those. But I also have quite a, not quite a few, but I have some rings that I've collected over the years. But I wanted to show you these, that I've got this little stand here. If you look at my background, I've got this little setup here that I'm trying to make my man cave here where it's got some football stuff. Well, just sports stuff, but I love football, overall. So, but I wanted to show you these. So if you look at these, and I got to give a quick shout out to a friend of mine named Alan. He actually has a 3D printer, made these little stands for my Funkos here. But check this out. So got a Tom Landry here. That's the Super Bowl 12 ring that they won in 1977. So Tom Landry coached the Cowboys 29 years. I think he had like a record of 20 consecutive winning seasons and won 2 Super Bowls. Went to 5, won 2, should have won 4, but we won't get into that right now. So, but look at that. It's kind of cool. Tom Landry. I got another one. Troy Aikman, right? That's the first ring that the 90s Cowboys won. So 1992, that actually says Aikman on the side there. But yeah, so, and I love these uniforms. They wore this in the 95 season. If you see that little patch, that's 75-year patch. So they wore it in, sorry, not 94. They wore it in 1994 season. So that's when these first came out. Pretty cool there. Let's see. I got a Roger Staubach. So to me, the GOAT, of course, right? You got the guys that have won stuff. But if you're a Cowboys fan, the GOAT could be Roger Staubach. I mean, the guy did it all. He won the Heisman Trophy. He led the Cowboys to 4 Super Bowls. He didn't lead them to that first one. That was Craig Morton was the quarterback there. But he was on the team. He was just a backup. Led him to 4 Super Bowls, won 2, should have won at least 3. But yeah, here's his first ring here, 1971. Beat the Miami Dolphins. Actually, I should have left it in here. Look, that's the picture of him throwing the ball right behind him there. MVP of the Super Bowl that year. But isn't that pretty cool? I just like the blue. That's awesome that they did that. Let's see, Michael Irvin. So here's Michael Irvin, which I think that's a mustache they got him under the helmet there. I guess he had a mustache, but you don't ever, when you think of Michael Irvin, you don't think of mustache. But anyway, playmaker here. That is their second Super Bowl, 1993, won back-to-back. That actually says Irvin there, which I didn't realize that till I was putting these together. But Michael Irvin played a big part in the 90s Super Bowls as well, just like Troy Aikman did. And Emmitt Smith. So I got to get one more. I do have the other ring. I need to get Emmitt Smith, do that. And then here's one that I just thought was pretty cool. I love the guarantee. I think I talked about this before. Super Bowl 3. I feel like it's 1968. Joe Namath gets yelled at by a reporter because the Colts are a heavy favorite. And I think people love the NFL. They weren't fans of the AFL, which is where the Jets were from. Joe Namath, they yell at him. They're like, the Colts are going to kick your butt. And Joe Namath's like, you know what? We're going to win the Super Bowl. I guarantee it. And yeah, they were, of course, a little mad at him, but he lived up to it. So earned the name Broadway Joe there. But I love this ring because it's green. So that's the Jets Super Bowl ring. I wish I could have showed the side. It's very detail oriented. There's Broadway Joe, had some knee problems, like cut his career was at the end was pretty tough, but he was a tough kid. So but yeah, so that's kind of like our collectible corner there. Just wanted to show you that stuff. If you look behind me here, got Broadway there with Silver Surfer. That was one of my first Funkos. It's pretty cool. Luca, poor Luca. They shouldn't have let him go. And then Jamie Benn, the captain of the Dallas Stars, probably at the end of his career as well. But anyway, just wanted to show you guys that. But you know what? Let's get into what happened yesterday in some we'll look at baseball and football. All right, so talking about baseball, actually I said we're going to go look at yesterday's game, but you know what, let's not worry about yesterday's games. Let's look at today's games for Saturday, because we still haven't won our parlay that gave us the opportunity to send big money over to a charity. So I've actually had to do it myself, but we're not going to quit here. We're toward the end of the baseball season. Let's see. Blue Jays are 63 and 67, so that's 0. Okay, 130. So we got 32 games left in the season before we get to the playoffs. The playoffs should be fun, but let's see if we can get something done before that. So I got 5 games for you today. I'm going to tell you, why I'm going to pick them, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to parlay these 5 teams. So let's jump into it. Toronto Blue Jays and the New York Yankees here. Let me move this a little here. Blue Jays are pitching Cease. Yankees are pitching Weathers. That's okay. They both got similar ERAs, 2.42, 3.56. Let's see. They've both given up only 7 runs in their last 5 games. So, that's okay. Here's the big thing. Blue Jays, 2-3, 3 of 5. Oh, sorry. They've lost 2 of 3 and lost 3 of the last 5 games. Not very consistent at all. They did lose to the Yankees. The Yankees have won 5 games in a row. So we got to go with the Yankees. So game 1 for our parlay will be Moneyline Yankees. Game 2, we got the Cardinals and the Phillies. Let's see. Cardinals are pitching Palante, which is good for them, 3.57 ERA. Phillies pitching Painter, 6.43 ERA. Not great there. But they've actually, Painter's given up 17 runs in his last 5 games. So this is not a great great pick for us, except for the fact that the Phillies are on a 7-game winning streak, including beating the Cardinals yesterday in walk-off fashion, 7-6 in the 10th inning. So we got to throw the Phillies in there. Cardinals have lost 3 of their last 5 games, lost 2 of the last 3, and did lose to the Phillies yesterday. So we're going to say, you know what, Phillies today. Come on. I don't know why I do this. I'm not a fan of Philly, but come on, Philly. Jeez. One time, baby. One time. I forget what show that was. But then we got the A's and the Astros. Also not a huge fan of either one of those. They are in the AL West with the Rangers, the Rangers are barely hanging on by their fingernails. Every time they lose and make us feel horrible, they'll win the next game and like just get you back in there, just kind of like reeling you in, just like a little fish. And you're like, maybe. Oh, there he goes. Never mind. Broke the string, but we'll see. We got 32 games left, so let's see how that goes. But the A's are pitching Lopez, 5.22 ERA. Astros are pitching Brown, 3.67 ERA. Let's see. They've both given up roughly about 10 runs per for their last 5 games, so not bad. This is what we're doing here. We flipped this one. The reason we're going Astros, who've won 2 of their last 3 games. They shut out the A's yesterday, but the A's are on a 5-game losing streak. Those guys are struggling. So let's say struggle one more time, guys. Just one more day. We don't care what you do tomorrow, but today struggle and give us that parlay. So the Astros are our pick for game 3. Game 4, we got Tigers and the Royals. I know this is not a great one. Like both of them under 500. Look at that. Tigers 61-67. Royals 56-74. Wow, that is rough. Poor Royals. Tigers are pitching Anderson, 4.01 ERA. This is the best pitcher that the Royals have. Waka, 3.58 ERA. Let's see. Tigers guy, I think he's only pitched a few games. He's given up 2 runs in his last 5 games. Royals given up 8 runs in their last 5 games. That's still just a little over 1 a game. And honestly, it comes down to once you get out of the starters, what the bullpen's going to do. So let's see what happens there. But here are the big numbers here. Look at the Tigers. Lost 3 games in a row, lost 4 of their last 5 games. Yeah, they're not feeling it. But who is feeling it are the Kansas City Royals. They've now won 6 games in a row, including yesterday against the Tigers. Look at that. They whipped the A's, but I guess a lot of people are whipping the A's. So for our 4th game, we got Kansas City Royals taking it to the Tigers, and that's kind of an underdog pick too, because look at that, they've only got 56 wins, Tigers 61 wins. So interesting game there. Let's see how that goes. And then the last of the 5, we got to throw in the Dodgers there. So Pirates and the Dodgers. Pirates pitching Jones, 4.78 ERA. The Dodgers are pitching recently acquired Skubal, who he's dying to win because he wants to get to the postseason because he wants to win a World Series. So Skubal, 2.85 ERA. Skubal's given up 9 runs in his last 5 games. Jones, 16 runs. So, but like I said, you never know what's going to happen. It's really what happens once you get past the starters. Now, if Skubal can go like 8, okay, that's a different story. But most of the starters are going 6. So once you get past the starters, what happens? What can your bullpen do? So, but we get to the big numbers here. Pirates, they didn't do too bad against the Tigers, but they did lose. So they've lost 2 of their last 4 games. So not bad. But the Dodgers have won 4 in a row. So we're going to say the Dodgers are on a roll here. They're going to take care of the Pirates in LA for the 5th game. And that's going to win us our parlay. So just to go over them real quick, we got the Yankees, we got the Phillies, we got the Astros because the A's are bad. We got the Royals, who are on a 6-game winning streak, and we got the Dodgers. So let's see how that goes. But you know what now? It's time to get into some pro football. All right, so everyone's excited. Pro football's back. We are in the preseason, but it doesn't matter. I will say this. This is the exciting thing about preseason is if you look at some of those scores, there's a lot of scoring going on, right? If it was defensive struggles and, I guess there's still some bad play, then it might be different because, everybody be bummed out about it. But I think we were so desperate for football to come back. We're like, we'll take anything. And here you got the some good scoring, high scoring games. So let's look at them really quick. You got the Raiders and the Texans played on Thursday, and the Chargers and the 49ers played Thursday. So look at this. 37.5 was the over-under for both of those games. Raiders-Texans, at the very end, the Raiders come back, score. Actually, so Mendoza throws a pick 6, right? That doesn't help their score there. But they go over, and probably 18 seconds left in the game, they score the game-winning touchdown. The Raiders do against the Texans to go for 44 total points. That was pretty good there. The Raiders were actually picked, at least when I wrote it last, 1.5 point win. They actually won by 2, so they even covered the spread. So look at that. Is this the new Raiders team we're going to see in 2026? Yeah, I don't think so. But we'll see. We'll see. 49ers and the Chargers. So the 49ers lost week 1. The Chargers were picked. No, sorry, the 49ers were 1.5 point favorites for this game. The over-under was 37.5. So when I went to bed I don't know if I went to bed at halftime, but I turned it off. It was kind of I'm not a big fan. I don't like watching the 49ers play anyway, but at halftime, I think it was 17-3 or something like that. So let's say they had 20 points, right? I woke up the next day. The 49ers had scored a total of 41 points, 58 total. They went over the spread, the over-under by 24 points. They destroyed that. There it is, 20-3, and then they scored. They destroyed them in the second half. Chargers, but you know what? It's preseason, right? So we don't know what's going on. Everybody's trying to find who are they going to add to their team. Who maybe some people might find the game changers. I know the Cowboys have a guy that they're really liking in preseason as well. So, but anyway, so they blew that away. So, and the 49ers were picked to win. They did cover the spread as well. So last night's games were the Jets and the Steelers. Okay, that was kind of a boring game. Kind of a little disappointing that the Steelers barely showed up. But I guess the Jets actually picked off, I forget the Steelers quarterback, but that threw a couple interceptions. But you know what? The Jets played well. Good for them. They needed that, I'm sure. The Steelers were actually 3.5 point favorites. So if you look at that, they did not cover the spread. They lost by 17. And the over-under was 39.5 because I guess before they had both scored, let's see, in their last game, they both gave up, they scored 28 and 16 points, right? So that's 44 there. Yeah, they didn't even score half of that. 17-0, kind of a boring game. Did not cover the spread. Oh, sorry. Yeah, they did not cover the spread, and they did not cover they went under. So, but that's probably the only game. Yeah, that is the only game that went under. So of the 5 games that have played, only one game went under. Panthers and the Jaguars, that was actually pretty exciting. But it's because like the Panthers starting quarterback, he came in the game and he led them to a touchdown. So it was kind of an unfair matchup, but I guess they needed to see what he was going to do, make sure he was good. He took him on a touchdown score. Kenny Pickett also, right, a veteran there. He also led him on a touchdown score, and I forget who the second quarterback was for the Panthers, but it was also I can't think of his name. I can see him. But he also, veteran, led him on a score. The Jags are throwing out guys that are like pretty new guys, didn't do well, but 34-17. The Jags were covered or set to win -1.5 points, but they didn't take into consideration that the Panthers were going to run their first teamers for the first 2 series, I think it was. Jaguars didn't do that at all. So Jags did not cover. Panthers underdog won there. 38.5 points was the over under, and the Panthers nearly got that themselves at 34 points there. 51 points scored. So but it is exciting when you get to see a lot of scores. Jonathan Brooks from the ex-Longhorn scored for the Panthers. That was good to see him out there. So enjoyed that. And then the Packers Broncos, I'll be honest, I didn't even watch this game. I thought the Broncos would win because Bo Nix was going to play, at least in the beginning. I don't know if Jordan Love played, but from the looks of it, the Packers scored early and scored often, winning 33-13, 46 points, and the over-under for that one was 40.5. So they went over there, but the Broncos were -6 point favorites, and they did not cover at all. So if you learned anything there, do not bet on the spread on these games. Possibly bet the over under, possibly bet the over because the over went under 5 games or 4 out of 5 games yesterday. Last 2 days went over. So, but we'll run through the games for today, for Saturday, and see how we do on that one. All right, so looking at today's games, we got quite a few. Actually, let's see. They're about to start here pretty soon with the Commanders and the Lions. Detroit is -1.5 point favorite. We know we don't care about that, except for the fact that Detroit is probably going to run the ball pretty well. And I would probably pick Detroit to cover this one at 1.5, being at home and being the better team there. But I'm really looking at the over unders for these teams. So let's see. So I I wrote this formula, practicing it, seeing how it works over the preseason to see to check what team's going to win. It should spit out what team's going to win. What's the spread possibly going to be? And then the potential total points scored in that game. So I feel like it's not going to work very well yet. I do have to tweak it. I'm not going to lie there because everything, well, let's see, 1 under. Yeah, I only have like 1 under. So that can't be the case except for the fact that maybe it's preseason. Maybe they know something. So I just use 1 week's worth of stats, right? So I use last week's stats to look at this. I didn't mention this earlier, but with the Raiders and Texans, I had the total at 33 and a 6-point margin of victory for the Raiders. The Raiders had won by 2, and they scored 42 points. So didn't go there. Chargers and 49ers, I actually had a 12-point margin of victory and a 49.5 over under. it was a 17, sorry, uh, no, 24-point victory. So we got that one right. And the over-under was 58. So we went over. I had 49, went 58. And then Jets Steelers was way off, right? It had the margin of victory by the Steelers to be by 15. The Steelers lost by 15. Maybe that's what it meant. Hey, the Steelers are going to get whipped by 15 points. Had the over-under at 46. It was only 17. So it was really, really bad there. But we don't even know who's going to play. Every week it could be something different. I'm hoping that over the first 4 weeks of the season, right, we can kind of work this out to where it starts to be a little more consistent. And let's see. And then Panthers, let's see, Packers, Broncos. I had, oh no, that was, oh, you know what? I did have that. Oh, I had 23-point margin of victory, and it was actually 20 points. And I had 41.7 as the over under. So the over under was initially 40.5. My said 41.7. The over under was actually 46. So I went over the over under, and then it went over my over under. So if I would have bet over, that would have worked there. So let's see how that goes. So Commanders Lions, I threw in the numbers there. It says Commanders. Does it have Commanders by 8? Yeah, Commanders by 8 is what I'm saying here. Which means Detroit does not cover the spread. And then 39.5.8 is the over-under, which would put us over the 36.5. So obviously we got an over there. Bills and the Browns. Browns are the -3. I think what they're doing is they're going home team. Home team is getting the spread for now, obviously, right? Because it's just preseason. And every over-under's like just in the high 30s. They'll once in a while throw you a 36, which is a lower one, and they'll throw you a 40, which is a higher one. So Bills Browns 37.5. Let's see. So mine says, wow, okay. This is definitely because there were some blowouts last week, right? Bills 17-point favorite there. We're gonna see who wins this game. And then the over-under I have at 40.3. So it would be over the 37.5. So let's see how that goes. Falcons, Colts. Got the Colts as a 7-point. So the Colts are 4.5-point favorites. I have the margin of victory is going to be the Colts by 7. And then the over-under is 36.5. I have the over-under at 32. So we're going to go under the Falcons and the Colts. Ravens and Vikings. Let's see here. Let's see. Ravens. Okay, Minnesota, of course, the home team, right? -3 there, and then 36.5 is the over-under. I have the Ravens as an 8-point favorite, so we're gonna go Ravens -8, and then the over-under at 50.5. Holy cow! I think it's gonna be a scoring fest. So I got the over on that one. But remember, this is just 1 week's worth of stats, and I'm trying to take real stats just to see how this works. And then next week I'll have 2 weeks worth. So Saints and the Rams. Oh, look at that. They gave the away team -1.5. That's probably a money thing. Total 36.5. I have the Rams at -6 and the over-under at 45. So we got the Rams winning the game. So the underdog wins here, and then over on the 36.5 points. Giants Dolphins. That's got to be one of the worst, most boring games ever there. Got the Giants -3.5 on the road. Okay, I was wrong about the home thing. And then total 36.5. Let's see. Remember, last week's stats. That's all I'm using here. We got the Giants. I got the Giants 3. So the Giants won't cover. They're only going to win by 3 or less. And then I have the over-under at 40.9. So I got the over on this game here. See, we got Bears and Bengals. Bears are the favorite. Okay, yeah, I was way off on that. Now but you know what? I will say this. I think I looked at these stats 2 days ago, and the home teams were all the favorites. And then last night, last 2 games, but I think after the money starts coming in, I think that flips it to like who they think the better team is. And I think that's why we're seeing some road teams here as the favorite. So let's see, who did I say? Bears, Bengals. Yeah, Bears -1.5 on the road and a 36.5 point over under. Let's see. I have the Bears. Wow. I don't know what I'm doing here. 16 point favorites, and the over under is 53. So way over on that one. Let's see how that goes. I'm actually kind of anxious to see how these numbers add up, but you really got to see it over a span of time. So Eagles and the Patriots. We got Eagles -1.5 on the road. Total 35.5. See, that's one of the lower over unders there. They're saying they're not going to score much. I have the Eagles. I have the Patriots at -5 and the over under at 42. So the over on that and the Patriots winning the game. See, we got the Chiefs on the road in Tampa Bay. We got Tampa Bay. Okay, there we go. Home team again. -5.5 and the total 37.5. So that's kind of right in the middle there, right? 35 was the low. I've seen some 40s as the high. So 37.5. I got the Chiefs. Oh, I got the Bucks as a 9 point favorite and the over under at 39.9. So just barely making it over that 37.5 there. And then the Cowboys and the Cardinals. Let's see. Arizona, of course, right? They actually, you know what? Arizona's been whipping us recently in the regular season, but it's probably why they got them there. -1.5, over under 37.5. See, I got the Cardinals by 4. I got the over under at 52, but I'm going to change that because I think the Cowboys backups on defense for some reason just have something to prove. I think I'm going to go the under on this one, but that's not what my stat says. So we're going to see who's right there. And then there is a game on Sunday, if you can believe it. It is the Seahawks and the Titans. We got the Titans at home, -4.5 point favorites. 37.5 is the over under. Let's see. My fancy algorithm formula here has the Titans by 13 and the over under at 40.7. So let's see how it goes. So hope you get to enjoy some baseball. I hope you get to enjoy some football over the weekend. Let's see how these go. I'm anxious to see how they turn out and how my numbers go. And then once we put in week 2 stuff, we'll see what we got for week 3. So I think just over the time, it'll kind of even out a little better. So, but hopefully you have a great week. If you're watching, please like the video. If you get a chance, go ahead and subscribe. Hope you had a great time. And I will timestamp this thing so you can kind of see where things are. And then we will see you on the next one. So if you do bet on the baseball, football, whatever, I hope you win a ton of money. So have a good one.